morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to each one of you to the NASSCOM MarTech Summit 2022. As we take a leap into a new age of the digital and enter 2022, time has come that we reconsider priorities and reset ourselves to the evolution that we are witnessing around us. Initially, when we embarked onto the journey in 2019, we tried to navigate into the future and aimed to identify marketing technologies that will drive businesses and companies over the next decade, and gathered marketing practitioners from different industries and technology companies, building the next generation of marketing platforms and tools. As we stepped into 2022, we were looking at transformed conventional norms, including experiences and relationships. We were at a learning curve in so many ways. The customer experience management permanently altered in 2020, and marketing was at the forefront of facing this change. But these changes had a plus side too. It had also accelerated the pace of technology adoption, and technology emerged as the savior of businesses. We were standing at crossroads where we learned that knowing and understanding the customer and customer experience is of utmost prominence. And technology is a strong tool which not only can help us in achieving sales, but enhance customer service and operational efficiency as well. All aspects of business had to be reimagined to stay afloat, and we gazed into the future with MarTech Summit 2022. And we knew our theme had to be around this transformation we observed. So with this, the theme for this year is Rethinking the 4 Ps, a new marketing technology paradigm. With that, let's try and understand from the perspectives of modern age marketers, what factors should be centralized and what should be modified, identifying where consistency helps and where it hinders, highlighting the confluence of strategies, operations, and technologies required to drive growth from practitioners across industries in the marketing ecosystem. Brand agencies, digital agencies, new age technology companies, marketers, and platforms, powering the next generation of MarTech. Before we move forward, we would also like to sincerely thank our sponsors for their immense support. Our platinum sponsor, NTT Data and Hansa Equity, our gold partner, Gupshup, our silver sponsor, Advanced Auto Parts, and our associate sponsor, Fusion Hawk. Thank you so very much for coming on board onto this MarTech journey with all of us. We also recommend you to visit 30+ exhibitor booths displaying their products and solutions in areas like AI, IoT, cloud, and others. You can also connect with the exhibiting organizations through a video call. We also recommend you to network with other delegates and speakers through networking feature. Welcome to the very first session for the day. I am very sure we are very excited to venture into some very important discussions, suggestions from our eminent speakers and their experiences. And of course, not to forget a lot of gigs. So let's begin. Marketing has always been a mix of art and science, but with recent advancements and transformation, we are seeing a lot of change in the approach with it, getting more and more scientific in nature by means of data being the vital foundation of our decision making. As marketers, we are now being held more accountable to anything from lead goals to operational efficiencies and even revenue. It has been observed that marketing analytics delivers more ROI than social media and mobile marketing, but only if we make the right use of the data. With this session, let's try to get a deep dive feel of marketing analytics and how marketers should be thinking about their analytics infrastructure while gain visibility into the health and effectiveness of marketing strategies and approaches. The topic for this session is Attaining CX Nirvana with Data and Analytics. We have present with us the expert in this field, Mr. Nirav Bhatia from SAS. He is the Customer Intelligence Evangelist Digital Transformation Specialist, heading the Customer Intelligence Practice at SAS India, responsible for owning and managing CI revenue across industries for India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh markets. He is a versatile professional with over 17 years of global experience and fusion of technical and business expertise. So without further ado, with utmost pleasure, let's welcome Mr. Nirav Bhatia from SAS. Thank you so much, Mr. Nirav, for joining in.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nirav Bhatia, and I lead the customer intelligence practice at SAS India. I welcome you all to an interesting session today on attaining customer experience Nirvana with data and analytics. Now, I'll try and share my experience working with organizations large and small across industries who have adopted these strategies, and how right set of MarTech became the big catalyst in their CX transformation journey. I hope these best practices will be relevant for you and your marketing teams. Now, talking of customer experience, it has been the biggest era for customer experience to be the topmost priority for all organizations. It acts as a blessing for most of their customers and is a point of differentiation from your competitors, right? A remarkable customer experience is critical to the sustained growth of any business. A positive customer experience promotes loyalty, helps you retain your customers, and encourages brand advocacy, and of course impacts your top line significantly, right? Now, gone are those days where we used to position as a MarTech with a feature called right message to the right person to the right time, right? Now, this was a feature earlier. Now it has become more of an obligation. You just can't live with a standard set of customer experience being delivered to the customers across different touch points, right? It has become a bit of a default right these days. People expect that from you, right? And why do they do so? And there are n number of research reports that claim and swear on importance of personalization, right? Highly personalized customer experience has been offered to millions of individual customers by using the proprietary first-party data are kind of difficult for competitors to intimate, right? They kind of, if they execute well these strategies and such experiences, at least in my, working with different organizations, have enabled these businesses not only to differentiate themselves from your competition, but also gain a sustainable competitive advantage, right? A lot of research companies and reports have actually backed this information, right? A staggering 70% plus people who choose not to engage with brands, who are not indulging into personalization practices, right? And they will kind of retrain from, engaging with these brands if you do not give them very, very personalized experience. Nobody wants a standard set of bombarding of messages when you engage with that brand, right? For example, if you go to a website and all these OTT experiences that we get from Netflix and Amazons of the world have kind of really spoiled our choices, right? And this is where, we need personalization to kick in at every single point of interaction with the brand. Now, again, if you see more than 60% of folks will even stop buying if personalization tactics are poor by these organizations, right? More than 70% would not even open those generic emails, if they are not personalized to the individual persona that the organizations know about the customer, right? A lot of study also says organizations who have adopted hyper-personalization and omnichannel customer experience initiatives have enjoyed around almost 15%, of boost in their revenues and easily around, 10x ROI that they get after they invest in the right market. Now, having said this, obviously, why people falter at customer experience, why we are not able to deliver that wow experience to our customers. In my experience, at least whenever we have spoken to organizations, when we do those assessments, these are the top 3 areas, which come up as a top priority, right? The first one being, again, reacting in time. Time and again, we have seen there are a lot of data silos which are available in the organization today, right? And these are, again, knowingly or unknowingly built over the years, right? No organization wants their data to be scattered across different, databases or different systems owning their own set of data. But unfortunately, because of the way the organizations have grown over the years, these silos are, unavoidable, right? So this happens to be one of the biggest issues when we got to deliver a complete, end-to-end customer experience, but these silos really pull that handbrake, right? Disjointed management of customer data and the customer journey is also one of the biggest issues, right? And this is where, building a CDP would really help. That could be one single step, to start your data journey, get the data right in one single place, build that holistic customer one view, and then do everything else over and above that, right? The second is, of course, the challenge which we have seen is taking the right decision at the right time. Now, everything again boils back to the data piece, because if customer data is not right, if you do not have that holistic view, there will be different brains, there will be different intelligence lying in different systems, enabling you to take wrong decisions at times, right? And we have seen that again, time and again, organizations fail miserably because of these strategies going wrong. And the third, but not the least, is the omni-channel journeys, and this is where we feel the biggest of the impact is. Right, we have seen organizations invest in MarTechs which are channel specific, right, which are not customer centric, which are not keeping end customer in the focus and deliver those omni-channel journeys. And this is where when you orchestrate campaigns across touch points, they are disjointed, and customers get a very horrible customer experience across these touch points. So if you look at these three areas, SaaS has been time and again solving these issues for years for our customers now, and we in fact are one of the market leaders across these three pillars, and we've been highly rated MarTech when it comes to such three capabilities, be it real time, be it customer analytics, or be it omni-channel customer journeys, right? Now, talking of how do you attain Nirvana in CX, right? What is the secret recipe, if I may call that? There is no secret recipe, right? But there are certain best practices, as I said in the earlier section. If you are able to get these 5 things right, which have worked in our favor over the years, right? Let's talk about these 5 steps of Nirvana, right? And this has been our success mantra in large CX transformation projects. And I typically preach these 5 steps to attain that for my customers, at least, right? The first step being, as I said, single view of the customer. If you are onboarding a CDP into your organization strategy and your vision, this is the right thing to do right now, because there are so much of data lying in so many different systems, right? You've got to bring in data in one single place, right? Second step is, obviously, once you get your data sorted, you would want to build an analytical ecosystem, which would help you create insights, which will help you activate that data which you just built, and kind of get more inferences from that data and create more intelligent engagements for your customer, right? And this is where all your AI ML capabilities kick in. This is where all your analytical model province come in, right? Where you want to infuse all of this intelligence into your marketing practice and then see how these reap benefits for you in your marketing processes, right? The third step is, obviously, once you've got your data right, once you've created your insights layer, your analytics layer on top, how would you then use all of this to create cross-channel segmentation strategies, right? And obviously, these are not just traditional way of doing segmentation, but you would want to also, invite AI ML for your help and kind of then do more analytically driven segmentation, right? And the fourth is, obviously, how do you create those intelligent journeys across touch points? Because we spoke of journeys on digital touch points, we spoke of journeys on traditional touch points, social. There are so many touch points where people can come to you and engage with you, right? How would you want to intelligently, contextually engage with your customers, personalize their experience and not give them very generic customer experience, is where the difference would be. And then last but not the least, this would be, how do you track and measure all the good work that you have done so far, and then create one holistic view of your reporting in terms of how the campaigns went, what was the efficacy, what is the ROI at the end of the day, right? If you get these 5 things right, it is very easy for marketers to kind of do end-to-end automation across different market objectives, right? And obviously, the biggest thing is, it's not the 6th point here, but the most important point is, how do you loop it back? How do you feed it back to your intelligence layer, to your data layer? Whatever happened as part of your marketing process becomes one of the most important points, because unless you do that, your next step would not be that intelligent, right? So let's go now, step by step on each one of these. Let's double click on individual layers, what you should do right for attaining that CX Nirvana, right? Now, as I said, this one is the fundamental issue where people have vouched for it, people have validated it across different organizations, marketers, data scientists, data analysts, all feel this is one of the biggest hindrance for you to do that CX transformation, right? Where there are data silos. And talking of data silos, how we have built them over the years, knowingly, unknowingly. And you have these digital assets, websites, your apps, where your customers come and do a lot of things, right? They exhibit certain behaviors, be it clickstream data on website, be it app notifications, etc., etc. What they like, what they see, what they click on these touch points are very important for you to capture, right? There are these data silos again created by the data lakes, the traditional data warehouses, or traditional systems where you host your historical data, right? Which is again very different database of sorts, right? Then there are these social media platforms where you have sentiments on social These are these call center data which you have, around complaints or inquiries that people do. Then there are the data sets around offline channels, your typical email, SMS, call center, CRM interactions where people have, chatbots where people do a lot of interactions. These data sets are very different because these are different technologies hosting this set of data. And then there are these CRMs, then there are these partner networks where you host these data sets. Now, and as I said, we have created kind of thick walls between these multiple systems. Unfortunately, data warehouse and data lakes are not the solution for this, right? You've got to build a CDP where you combine all possible data sources in one single place and then build a holistic view. If you're not doing that, what you will end up doing is the last customer, the end customer, is actually the same customer across touch points. But unfortunately, because of these silos, you're not looking at the customer with the one single lens, right? And you will communicate the customer with so many different messages across touch points. And this has been one of the biggest trouble when it comes to managing customer experience, because customers will be really pissed off if you deliver different messages on different touch points, knowing the fact that I am being part of this brand for last so many years. I have given so many data points on different touch points, but still my brand doesn't know me, right? This is one of the biggest issue where the dissatisfaction creeps in, right? How do we then solve it, right? As part of the first step, consolidate this data, merge digital data with offline data, traditional data with behavior data, and bring it in one single place as part of the fundamental step, right? This is all CDP helps you do that. But again, just bringing data is also not helpful. How do you make this data streaming available for different data sets as well in terms of different downstream systems? How would you want to make this data set in real time is where the difference would be, right? Completeness of this data. You just don't want to combine your historical data with behavior data, but you also want to combine sentiments coming from social media. You would want to also combine feedback, as in the campaign response, the campaign history. How do you feed that back into your data lake is important for you to then decide the next steps intelligently, right? And then from an enterprise ready perspective, obviously you just don't want to keep that data in one single place. You want to let other systems also benefit out of it beyond marketing function, right? And this is also very important because other organizations within a company should also benefit from this single view of the customer, right? This is the first step. Again, I'm going very quick here because again, we have very limited time, but I'll try and cover what key areas we should cover at every step, right? Second step, again, moving on to the more intelligent part of things. If marketing and customer analytics, market was a soccer game, we would be in the second half of this game, right? And the first half was dominated by the general purpose toolkits that were available by the data scientists who used to use that for building custom models from scratch. And due to scarcity of these data scientists these days, the MarTech ecosystem saw an emergence of solutions which are pre-packaged analytics, right? Which have were geared more towards marketers and not very generic analytics, right? And now we are in the second half of this game, as I said, where the commoditization of this, more analytically driven capabilities underway, right? But this game is far from over, right? SaaS recognizes, the critical importance of serving multiple enterprise-based persona. Now, this spectrum actually ranges from business users on the left, which you see here, who want more of an out-of-box analytics, right? Basically saying, do it for me. I really don't care what models go in, what algorithms you use in those models, right? And to the extreme right, where the data scientist would want do it for me, or I would say do it, and I would want to get in my hands dirty and build it on my own from scratch. Now, these are very different approaches within an organization, right? Now, SaaS has observed, in my experience again, this is a well accepted challenge, to inspire your software design. We have actually built our product basis this in principle, and knowing that different organizations have different personas wanting different things from an MarTech, right? And this is where you would also want to break these walls and kind of try and collaborate these different teams. Hence, only then you would be able to reap benefits, right? So for organization who would want to cover all the spectrums, should invest in a MarTech which allows you to do such tight integration and collaboration between these three personas within an organization. And again, it is also dependent on how well you infuse these AI-powered insights into your, or get these recommendations into your marketing processes. Will also see a big amount of amazing outcomes once you do that right in the system. Right? And you would want to build that one as a, build it as a one team. The third step is again cross-channel segmentation. As I said, segmentation could be multiple levels. Traditionally, we have all been doing business rules-based segmentation, right? Organizations, marketers have been doing this heuristically for years. typical business rules you would want to apply for anonymous users, for your known customers, and then obviously do some experimentation as part of segmentation. The things have changed, right? As part of anonymous, you would want to capture behavior of the customer, as I said, on digital touchpoints, and combine all that the customer exhibits, and then do segmentation. For an anonymous customer, a lot of things happen at a cookie level because you really don't know who this customer is, right? But you still want to target them. You still want to do retargeting. You still want to do engagement with that customer so that you entice them to become your customer, right? The second is obviously once you know this customer, who are these people, people reveal their PII on touch points. How do you then combine their historical known information to the customer behavioral information and then create, using that one view, how do you then do smart segmentation and create micro segments and then engage? And third is again, the most fancy segmentation that we have right now is the AI powered and auto segment discovery, right? Where you let the system decide for you who are the right people who should be targeted as part of the segment, right? System should tell you how can you experiment smartly, how can you do A/B tests, how can you optimize your marketing spends. All this happens through AI ML. You should invest in a MarTech which allows you to do this. Fourth step is on the intelligent journeys, as we spoke. And as I said, there are so many channels where people can interact with you, right? You want to send some campaigns and outbound, where there are inbound campaigns where people come to your touch point. You would want to do personalization for these people. You would want to do ad retargeting on third-party products, third-party websites for these customers. How do you do that when customers have liberty and options to go to direct marketing channels, email, SMS, chatbots, call centers? There are the digital channels, website, app, or there are these email push traditional campaigns, or retargeting on ad media and social, right? So many systems, so many MarTechs working in tandem is not easy, right? And this is where most of the CX strategies fail, where you do not deliver a seamless, consistent customer experience. Your revenues get impacted, conversions are impacted, and brand image also takes a toll, right? So if you invest in a MarTech, look for options which can combine all of this and help you do holistic engagement from one single system. Do not invest in channel-specific MarTechs, which will create these silos and even worsen it for you, right? Talking of performance and tracking, as I said, everything has to be tracked because you're spending so many dollars on your marketing. You've got to invest in a good tracking mechanism, and which is not just typical dashboards and reports that we are used to seeing, right? It's not typical MIS job. You need more smart, intelligent reports coming out of your systems, right? For example, as I said, you are engaging with your customers across so many touch points. So why don't you have different types of reports? It could be executive dashboards for the CMOs, which gives you a complete bird eye view of what type of objectives are being served by your MarTech. It could be acquisition campaigns, cross-sell, upsell, retention, loyalty, etc., etc. How are these programs running rather than a campaign running? Right? It's a more of a bird eye view you would want to see. What kind of conversions you get in terms of campaigns? What kind of channels work for you? What kind of new strategies I should implement? Right? Get more campaign insights in terms of what kind of people are actually getting converted, what kind of segment analysis that you can do, what kind of cohorts that you create as part of your journeys that you have built for your different customers. Channel attribution becomes one big plus point if you are able to really analytically attribute your customers on different touch points, right? Typically, people have been used to do first touch attribution, first touch attribution, but those days are gone, right? You need more AI-powered attribution where you can actually figure out which channel has actually contributed to that conversion eventually, right? And then obviously journey analytics. You would want to really know where customers have dropped off, which are the right channel you should promote them, what is the right creative you should bombard with in terms of your personalization is concerned. Create cohorts, create different sectors within your own data sets, and then do smart segmentation. So you need reporting capabilities which are very holistic, which are very comprehensive in nature, and not just typical MIS reporting about the performance of the campaigns itself. Right? Now, these are, as I said, fundamental 5 steps. If you get these right in your marketing practices, you are solving large amount of your customers' problem in terms of customer experience, right? We spoke of data. Just to summarize this very quickly, we spoke of analytical ecosystem that you build on data. Third was segmentation. Fourth was journey building, and fifth was reporting and measurement. Right now, beyond this 5 things which people do to get that blissful experience with the customers, what we have seen is there are certain areas which you need to also focus on, right? Which can be a big hindrance. Say for example, movement of data on cloud. A lot of these systems, MarTech systems, are typically software as a service, right? Which are typically on cloud, right? Which are hosted on cloud. Obviously, it's a big advantage to host it on cloud. Software as a service has its own advantage. But many times we have seen organizations, especially in BFSI, where people are really finicky or really concerned about holding this data back. I really don't want my customer data to be uploaded on an OEM's cloud just to do that marketing personalization. Now, in the process, we hold it back. In the process, we only do personalization basis very limited data KPIs about the customers and not do a holistic way of doing personalization. Now, this is where you start cutting corners to do personalization, right? So look for options which give you hybrid architecture. Look for MarTech which allow you to keep your customer data as close to your heart in your premises, but still give you flexibility of software as a service on cloud. And also look for services which are allowed in India data center, where you can host these softwares in data center which are residing in India. Because again, there will be CISOs pouncing on you, saying, why do you want software as a service which are hosted outside of my country? Because that are then, not complying to the data security and data privacy regulations of sorts, right? So you need to comply to all these as well when you, attain that CX Nirvana in the pursuit of that, right? You don't want to obviously host this precious data of customer onto anybody else's cloud. So look for those options. Likewise, also choose a MarTech which is future ready, which has that cutting edge CI, AI centric vision of sorts, and don't go for traditional marketing automation tools which are not going to help you in any form from a AI perspective, at least. And then obviously look for options which are going to be real time in nature. This becomes one big differentiator. If you're not getting that real time CDP thing right, you would again struggle with the data. You would never be able to give that real time personalized experience. And it has to be in the DNA. It has to be one single data model supporting streaming data across different touch points. And only then that CX Nirvana will be able to achieve, right? With that, again, let me end my session with a very relevant and kind of recent success story that we have had, where we worked with one of our customers in similar CX transformation journey, who adopted these 5 steps of CX Nirvana. I said, and this is again a published case study by NASSCOM, which was released very recently a month ago. And I would encourage you to kindly go through the same for more details, how we have helped organizations in that journey, right from step 1 to step 5, and how they have been able to achieve, what I just claimed, be it real-time CDP, be it the analytical provenance, be it, the right set of engagement, segmentation, and reporting piece, all brought in together, how that can create magic for your organization. I'll really encourage you should go and, have a look at that case study as well. Well, with that, I would like to conclude my session. I would want to thank you all for attending this one. For any questions or feedback you may have, here are my coordinates. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll kind of be glad to engage with you further on this. Right? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nirav. I think all these important solutions that we just discussed, all the questions that our audience must be having on their minds is all the more very much answered actually. But having said that, we still have a couple of questions, but because of paucity of time, we'll be able to take only one question. And the question says, you mentioned about real-time engagement. Can you please elaborate more on that?
Okay, great. I'm glad somebody asked question that. See, there are, when it comes to real-time engagement, there are quite a few areas where you would want real-time capabilities in your platform, right? One is obviously, as I said, a lot of behaviors which people exhibit on digital touchpoint, be website app. You would want to capture this data, this intent, this behavior in real time and make use of that data in real time, right? Because you would want to not miss that moment of truth where the customer exhibits certain clear intent that he's interested in product A. Why would you want to wait for next time when the customer engages with you, would want to then personalize that experience? Why would you want to do that? Right? So if MarTech allows you to capture this data in real time in milliseconds, if you can bring that digital data onto my CDP, combine this data with my historical data about the customer, that I know that, okay, hey, this is Nirav who has come into website looking at product A. I know Nirav, he's been my customer for last 10 years. And this is what I know about, my analytical interventions show that Nirav is a very high probability to buy this product. He's showing intent on website. Let me give him a very aggressive offer right then, right now, right? So real-time engagement becomes very important. Then only then, if I have that capability in my platform, then able to combine this digital data with this behavior data, with the historical data, create something on the fly for the customer, and then present it right there where the customer is on the touch point. It becomes a very wow experience that Nirav will feel, okay, yeah, this brand knows me. And I just exhibited certain behavior and they're able to give it back to me in milliseconds right now, and not somebody who's who drops in the journey and who gets engaged 3 days later, 5 days later. Similarly, if you would also want to kind of engage with the same customer on a different channel, you would want to initiate an email or a call center call or a WhatsApp in-app notification. All those can also happen only if you have real-time capabilities. So all these will become a big factor to give that true blissful customer experience, right? For your brand as well, it is helpful, but the end customer would also feel valued, when you give such an experience. Yep.
Yeah. And I also feel with what you just mentioned, the need of the hour is this, that the real-time engagement is something that has to be, it is so quick that it helps the audience and it helps build a lot of trust in them. So, yes.
Absolutely.
So on that note, thank you so much for your time for doing this for us. And I hope you also had a good time.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nirav. Please take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.